Hello, this is Bill Webb, aka Billy Indiana. Today I'm going to do a quick recap of the games that I played in the month of October 2023. So if you're excited to see what hit the table at our household, stay tuned. Well, first off, I just want to give a shout out to Stonemaier Games. Really grateful that Jamie Stegmaier was kind enough to offer me a spot as one of the 10 content creators in his charity auction that just started a couple days ago. If you haven't heard about that, I'll put a link down below and you can check that out and support a bunch of different good charities. Hopefully, encourage some of us content creators who were offered the opportunity to be involved and potentially give you a shot to put some bids on a really great package of games. But beyond that, this month, in terms of the stats, I was able to play 13 different games for 25 gameplays, which is the lowest I've had in probably over a year, maybe even a couple of years. It's my lowest one in a long time. Just been really busy with work, busy with basketball. I had a weekend where I had some health issues kind of hit me pretty hard, and so just kind of a tough month for gameplays, but I did play some really good games. So I'm going to recap them kind of in reverse order of how many gameplays I had for each one, give you a brief review, and then at the end tell you about which games I enjoyed the most. All right, so the first one I'll mention is not one that I own, and I just played it on BGA, and it is SkyTeam. And SkyTeam was a lot of fun on BGA. I really would like to play the physical copy of it sometime. Again, I don't own it. In fact, I don't think I have any of my close friends that I know of that owns it either. But it is fun to play on BGA. It was fun to do that cooperative flying and landing the plane, trying to, without communicating verbally, see if we could give signals to each other by the way we played the dice. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I would like to play again on BGA, but I really do want to try the physical game at some point. Still torn on as to whether I would want to own it or not because you can play it so easily on BGA. But I do think my wife would probably enjoy it. So we'll see. If I can find a good deal on it sometime, I think I might add that one to my collection. SkyTeam is a really good one. Next up is one that just about every time when we have a little bit left of time at the end of our game nights, we almost always just reach for Ra. It's a Reiner Knizia classic for a reason. It's a lot of fun. You can play it in a pretty short amount of time. It's got a fun bidding system and just some bluffing and bidding. And yeah, again, it seems like I almost never win, but every game we play, there's some unusual thing that comes up. A couple times ago when we played, I just had this massive last round that put me up in the running and almost pulled it off. In this game, there was another player that had just a really massive round but still couldn't overcome. It's just really interesting how this game always turns out so uniquely. So Ra was a lot of fun as always, and that was one just played once, same as SkyTeam, but with the physical game and this great new version of it from 25th Century Games. Next up, another game that I really enjoy, Planet Unknown, and I do have the Kickstarter Deluxe version. This is by Adam's Apple Games, I believe. Yeah, Adam's Apple Games. I just enjoy this game. This time, actually, I played on BGA, so this wasn't a physical gameplay for me this month. I think it's pretty recently been added to BGA, and I still prefer the main game, but I just haven't gotten hardly any games to the table actually lately. So playing on BGA has been kind of my saving grace, a little opportunity to get some games played. And so this one, again, a really fun polyomino game where you're not only placing those polyomino tiles out to try to cover your planet, but you're also at the same time going up on different tracks and trying to combo those tracks, Gong Shang Clever style, and then earning different values, and you're competing for different objectives between the player to your left and the player to your right. Lots of fun things to think about. I never do well. I think I finished second this time, which is about the best I've ever done. But for some reason, I still just really love the game. So Planet Unknown. Next up was a new one to me, and that is Jorvik, an older Stefan Feld game. And this one just has a really cool bidding mechanism. It almost feels Knizia like. As we were playing it, several of us said, this doesn't feel as much like a Feld. It feels like Knizia, Reiner Knizia might have made this game. But there's two different levels of bidding. And on the bottom one, you're bidding with your workers and you're trying to use those workers to dictate what the cost of the bid will be, but you're also trying to get latest in the bidding for each of those cards so that you can get the lowest cost. So there's some really interesting things there. And then there's a top collection of cards where the sooner you bid on it, the more likely that's going to make it a more expensive one. But if you really want that card, then you might need to bid on it early so someone else doesn't take it. But as soon as you take a really good one, everyone else is going to pile on and try to make that one so expensive that you can't afford it, because money is really tight in this game. So a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this play of Jorvik. Look forward to trying that one again. So that is Jorvik. Let's see, how can I put this? See if I can find some way to at least make it somewhat visible there. So Jorvik was another really fun one. Next one is one that I don't own and played on BGA, and that's Heat Pedal to the Metal. I have played it, the physical copy of it, once and enjoyed it. I think I actually may have enjoyed it a little bit more on BGA. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe it was just because it was my second play. Maybe the second play around was more fun for me. The first time I played it, I was like, it's fun. It's a little deeper than Downforce, but I would rather just play Downforce, I think, even though there's more to Heat. But I know a lot of people love it, but for some reason it just didn't click with me that much. The second time around, I enjoyed it more on BGA, and again, not sure if it was because of my second play, but yeah, it was fun. I would always be happy to play it, even after my first play. I didn't dislike the game. I just haven't loved it as much as a lot of people seem to. So Heat was fun, enjoyed it. Another new one to me was Forest Shuffle, and played that one on BGA as well. And I got a couple nice lucky combinations with the hares and the foxes and the way that I organized the trees and just the way the trees came up for me. I do think there's a fair bit of luck in what cards come up and when they get cleared and when you can pick them, but there's some strategy as well. I enjoyed it, got a good, I think I actually won maybe. I know I scored pretty well on it, so it was fun. I don't know that I'd ever necessarily even want to play it in person. I'd be willing to try. I enjoyed it enough that I'm always willing to try it. But it was really fun on BJ, pretty easy to kind of pick the cards and just make it nice and clean. Didn't have to, get a table all covered with cards. So Forest Shuffle was a nice one. Next one was one I did play in person. We played with a couple friends of ours, and The Downfall of Pompeii. And this game is a Klaus-Jürgen Riedi game, an older one. And it's really interesting that there's two phases of the game. There's one where you're trying to put all the people out, and then there's one when the volcano starts erupting and you're trying to get them all out of the city. And I think I squeaked out a win on this one too. I was really a little bit lucky in the way the tiles came out. The tiles that would have blocked me off and made sure I didn't win kept coming up when I was going, so I could place them in good places for me. If they would have come up when other people were going, I never would have had a chance to win. So there's a little bit of luck in that one. It's fun, it's quick, it's silly. But yeah, we had a good time with it. We played it actually a couple of times, I think. No, we just played this one once. Yeah. So there was one night where we met with that same couple and we played several games multiple times, but just this one time. So Downfall of Pompeii, a lot of fun. Definitely enjoyed that one. All right. Let's see if I can get a couple. Here we go. Starting to squeeze myself out of view here. All right. The next one I don't own, but had a fun time playing it, a game night, Barcelona. And so Barcelona is a game by Garcia, I think Danny Garcia, if I remember correctly. I don't own it, so I'm trying to remember, but really a clever game, an interesting game of positioning your workers at intersections and trying to time it just right. You need to have a combination of workers to be able to build in certain ways. So there's a lot of really thinkiness to where you're putting your workers so that you're setting yourself up, but not setting the next player that goes up. And sometimes you kind of have to set them up for a play down the road. And it's just a lot of things to think about. I feel like that's a game you'd have to play a bunch of times to get really good at. But I did really enjoy it. I don't think I did very well, and I can't remember how the scores turned out. But for us, every time we play, yeah, we're trying to win. But we learn so many new games. A lot of the time is just about the experience of learning it. And so I don't remember for sure how well I did, but I kind of feel like maybe I didn't do too well on the score. But it was a lot of fun, and I would love to play it again. I think you'd have to play it a lot to get really good at that one with all the things you're trying to process. Next up, another new to me game, Rise of Augustus. This is a Paolo Mori game, so he's the creator of Libertalia and a lot of other games. I think the Blitzkrieg and Rome in 20 minutes, or Caesar Rome in 20 minutes, whatever those games are. He's got a lot of games that are really popular. Rise of Augustus is a fun one where it's like a bingo style game, but instead of drawing balls out of a cage, you're drawing cards or tiles out of a bag. And you're really hoping for the right tiles to show up at the right time. You're trying to gain cards so that you can, you're placing your little workers on the cards, but then once you complete one, you're drafting another one. So you're trying to time that all out just right. And you're trying to be the first person to complete 7 cards. And also, as you're completing, they come in different colors and different styles, and you're trying to get the most green ones, the most blue ones, one of every kind. all different kinds of extra goals that you're trying to achieve as you play and kind of race towards those goals. I know I remember this was more recent. I know I didn't score very well in this one, especially the first game. I think I scored like 16 points. It was miserable. Not miserable in terms of fun. I had a lot of fun, but the score was really bad. The second time, I think I was more respectable. Respectable. I think I was maybe second or third. So, but both games, we played it twice in a row. It's really quick, really easy. This is a game I think you could introduce to people who love bingo. It's a little more complex than that, obviously, but not so much so that if they understand how to play bingo, I think they could pretty easily pick up on this one. If they played any modern board games before, I think especially, then it wouldn't be hard at all. It was a lot of fun. Enjoyed Rise of Augustus. All right, next up, another one that I don't own, Priorities. Played that a couple nights, a couple games in a row one night with another couple friends of ours, and it was a lot of fun. You're playing cooperatively. You're trying to first one person ranks 5 things in terms of best to worst in their opinion, and sometimes it's really easy to say, oh, that's a clear ranking. Other times it's like, I don't know, I hate them all equally, or I love them all equally, or they're all just sort of blah to me. And so it was really interesting hearing the conversations about how the other people thought you would rank it. And if they pick the ranking the same as you did, any card that they put in the right spot, you get to keep the letter that's on the back of that card, and you're trying to spell out the word priorities. And so those are the letters that are on the back of the card. The first round we played, we got beat by the bot, and so we couldn't get all the correct letters in order to spell priorities before the bot did. And the bot is basically, if you don't match it up, they get those cards. And so you're just trying to spell priorities before the cards you miss spell priorities. And so we lost the first round, but then the second round we won. So a lot of fun. It's not really about winning or losing that game. It's much more about having fun, learning about people, hearing about why people would rank things certain ways, and just, having some laughter and some fun conversation. So Priorities was a good time. Then we played No Thanks. I've only ever played that on BGA before. I think this was the first time that I played it in person, and I can't remember. That was recent, but I don't. We played it twice, and I couldn't even tell you if I was close to winning or far from winning. I do remember one time my wife just smoked us. She did really well. I can't remember who won the second one. I don't think I won either game. I'm pretty sure I didn't. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. You're basically playing the cards, and you turn over a card, and they're like 3 to 36 or something like that. And you want the low score, and so you don't want to take a 35 card because it's worth 35 points. So you each start off with 9 little discs and or little stones, and you put those on there like, no thanks, I'm not taking that card. And those stones are worth points too. So the more stones that get on there, it's like, well, I can take this 35-point card, and now I'm taking 12 stones with it. So yeah, I'm going to have that 35, but now I've got 12 stones, which are taking away points. So that's good. And then if later a 34 comes up sequentially, now the 35 drops to a 34. And then if a 33 comes up, it drops to 33. And so you're trying to get those cards in sequence to match up. And it's just fun because it seems like in some of those games, you flip a card over and it just seems like card after card, it goes right to the same person, and they just keep stringing those cards together. But it's a lot of fun. It's very simple. Anyone can play it. And you're kind of pushing your luck to some degree of, okay, there's some cards that are out of the game, and you don't know that. So you're like, well, I hope there's going to be one in. I've got a 19, I've got a 17, and here's a 19. So if I could get the 18 and put those together, then I've got 2 cards that don't count against me. So you're pushing your luck a little bit that way. A lot of fun. No Thanks played a couple times. Next one up, I just posted a video on this a couple days ago. Playthrough review, the Royal Limited. This is a Scott Alms game put out by Button Shy Games, a solo game. So it's one of those 18 card games where you're putting out cards as either cars on a train or passengers in those cards, and you're trying to shed all the cards in your hand. But the cars have certain rules. So every time you put a passenger in the car, you have to follow that rule. And the passengers there's special VIP passengers that have special rules as well that you have to follow to get them in the train. And you have to make the cars a different number and a different color to put them in your train, but the passengers have to match either the color or the number to put them in the cars. So it's a really interesting puzzle. I've played this, 5 times this month, I think around 10 or 12 times overall in the last couple months, just prepping for that video. It's a fun little game. You can play it in 5 or 10 minutes. And yeah, it's a nice puzzle if you like those small card games that are puzzly. So the Royal Limited. But the game that I played the most, also on BGA, is My City Roll and Build. And if you watch my video from last month, it's kind of the same deal where I don't know if I should really count this as 6 plays because it's 6 seasons, but it takes several days to play a season on BGA because we're playing asynchronous. So I don't know, it feels like a separate play, and you do score every season. So I counted it as 6 separate plays for the 6 seasons that we've gone through. And I think we're on season 10 that we just started today or yesterday. So we should be getting seasons 10, 11, and 12 over during the month of November. So that was my most played game in October 2023. Now, what are the games that I enjoyed the most? So I was trying to pick one game that was not new to me and then one game that was new to me. The game that was not new to me that I enjoyed the most, Planet Unknown. I mean, yeah, I love Ra, and so that's right up there. Let's see, what else have I played that I enjoyed? I would say it really came down to Planet Unknown or Ra for me in terms of the games that I played before. They're both excellent. I would be glad to play either of them anytime. But I think Planet Unknown for me, even though I'm always terrible at it, I still enjoy it every time. There's something about those polyominoes and the tracks. I just really love the combinations. And I backed the Supermoon expansion, so it's got a nice lid to hold things in better, plus the Supermoon to add a little bit more complexity. And so I'm excited to try that. I think that I don't know when that's coming, but hopefully that won't be too long in the future. So that was my favorite game that was not new to me, Planet Unknown. The favorite game that was new to me, there are really 3 that were vying for contention here. I really did enjoy Sky Team a lot. I really did enjoy Barcelona a lot. But I'd have to say that Jorvik, I mean, Steffenfeld comes through again for me. And it's interesting because probably my 2 favorite designers are Steffenfeld and Reiner Knizia. And I don't know that I've yet found a Steffenfeld game that I didn't enjoy. Obviously, some I enjoy more than others, but I think I've enjoyed every one of them. There's some Knizia games that I haven't really enjoyed, but there are a lot of Knizia games that I do, and they rise up into the top ranks of some of my favorites. So this one is by Steffenfeld, but has kind of a Knizia feel to it. So it just really hit all the right spots for me. I really love that unique bidding mechanism and just the different ways you're trying to play the cards. And yeah, really a lot of fun. I'd like to play this one again. So Jorvik was my favorite new to me game. All right, so if you have any questions about these games, leave those in the comments below. And also let me know, what were your favorite game plays in the month of October? Did you get something back to the table that you were really excited about, or did you get a new game to the table that you really enjoyed? I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, it'd be terrific if you give it a thumbs up, and I'd love it if you'd choose to subscribe to the channel. As always, this is Billy Indiana signing off. Thanks for watching.